Yesterday I did a video about the Game Awards and how they're desperately trying to backtrack and just stumble around while promoting the games that we actually didn't expect and snubbing some of the ones that we did expect to see there. And in that video I just made a point about the website The Gamer commenting on Black Myth Wukong's Game of the Year nomination, saying that it is the lowest rated game to be put on the Game of the Year list, with a very low 81 Metacritic score. And my comment on that was that if you go and look on Steam, you'd see around 730,000 people who disagree with you. And I thought that was it. I thought that, okay, The Gamer made their own take on the things. They were trying to play the narrative, of course, because they are a narrative media after all, and they continue to just cater to what the professional gaming journalists and reviewers and experts, damn, that was a lot of quote marks, say. But what I saw today while I was at work just had me giggle so much that I almost fell from my chair. It's amazing how desperate the narrative media can get when it knows it's losing and it knows that it's no longer relevant for any gamer. And I'm gonna show you what I mean right now. This is a post from the account Parrot Nation, who is amazing at posting information, diving deep, and just giving us a lot of things that we can see as information. And what we see here is 14 different websites that posted an article with basically the same name as with The Gamer. Black Myth Wukong is one of the lowest rated games to be put into the Game of the Year category. Just to let you know, this is all done in the span of 24 hours. 14 different news sites or forums made almost the exact same article. Now, I've read through some of them and we're going to go through some of the articles individually, but not through all of them because that would mean that the video has to be 5 hours long. But the essence is that they are perpetuating one single message and they're trying to just push it further and further as a last-ditch mass attack effort on the gaming community and on what is actually true, that in a desperate that Black Myth Wukong is a great game and this is just a last ditch effort to defame it, to slander it in every possible way, even with this. Now the first article that I want to show is actually that one from The Gamer, because I didn't dive into it last night, but I'm just going to read you a passage from it. If we stand back and try to figure out why Black Myth Wukong made the list, the fact that it smashed records on Steam when it launched probably has a lot to do with it. It's a pretty good game, which I even admit in my review, but its a massive commercial success has undoubtedly played a part in it grabbing top spot. Basically, yeah, that should be the metric because it makes money. And then we go, sales aren't a metric for quality though, as that would mean Resident Evil 5 is the best in the series, and we both know that isn't true. Now, I don't know exactly what this person tried to insinuate, but let's just dissect what I just read a little bit. Sales aren't a metric for quality. If you compare them with massive refunds and bad customer reviews after the initial purchase, you might have a point. I will admit that. However, we have 730,000 people who have compiled an overwhelmingly positive review of the game on Steam, and those people disagree with you. So this is an absolutely idiotic statement. Sales metrics are one of the main things in the long run that determines if a game is good, because it means a lot of people bought it, a lot of people liked it, a lot of people played it, and it made a fuck ton of money. So what exactly is not a metric of success in this case? Games are made to be sold and played. That's it. You have to make a good game so it has a great interest, it makes you a lot of money and makes you richer as a developer and makes you want to create more and more interesting games to get more and more people to play them. That's pretty much the simplest formula in the world. And saying that this isn't a metric of success is just idiotic as a whole. We move to Polygon. Black Myth Wukong is one of the lowest rated games of the year nominees in Games Award history. The Monkey King made a big impression despite worse than average scores. What worse than average scores? Where are you getting that information? I'm not gonna say what. And the interesting thing here to read, because every single one of these articles has one thing that is absolutely outrageous to read. Black Myth Wukong has been a centerpiece of the cultural war within gaming after IGN investigate allegation of sexism at developer GameSense in November 2023, speaking to several women in the Chinese gaming industry about misogynistic remarks by men in the studio, including CEO Feng Ji. Once again, for the millionth fucking time that I will say it on my channel, you probably have heard it on many channels, those allegations were dismissed completely. They were torn down, they were absolutely debunked, because it turns out it was just incorrectly, purposely or not purposely, translated tweets, because it was slang language. And you're still clinging on to that they were allegations and they were investigated and this is somehow relevant to you, and it is not, because this is basically slander and it's not true. All of these allegations and all of that article was absolutely debunked on every possible level. I personally have several videos on that in detail about these things, and here's the article from Indie 100. It just reeks of disappointment. It went down better with players than it did with critics. Those are the same critics that rode the wave of the slander from IGN, by the way. It's the lowest review score of a game nominated for Game Awards since the Game Awards started out in 2014. It has an 81 score on Metacritic and 82 on OpenCritic. All of these articles say one thing: the scores and how it is the lowest score, just pounding the message inside so everyone can think that. And there is a saying, if you say a lie enough times, it will become a truth, and that's what they're trying to do. Now, do I say that the 81 score on Metacritic is false? No, it is true. It does have the 81 score on Metacritic. However, it also has an 8.3 here on the user scores. And let me just show you a little bit on what Metacritic usually is. This is Dragon Age the Veilguard. It has a score of 82 by the critics, and it has a 3.8 from the players. Dustborn, it has a 67, which is in the yellow, but 67. It has a 1, which I think is the lowest from players. Star Wars Outlaws, 75 to 5.3. Concord, 62 to 1.7. What does that tell you? Exactly. It tells you that you have around 100 critics, as is with most of those scores that we just saw, and you have thousands of players, of gamers also voting. And what these absolute abhorrent websites tend to focus on is what the game critics say. It's like they're telling you that one game critic's voice is equal to at least 10 of your voices, of the people that you and me. It's basically telling you, yeah, we don't really need to listen to gamers or take their opinion about it, because we have our professional gamers and our professional reviewers, and the professional reviewers don't hesitate to slander, to promote bad games that are just the propaganda pieces with some game inserted in them. They don't have any problem promoting games like Dustborn, Concord, Unknown 9, Dragon Age Veilguard. No, they like that, because that comes from the narrative givers, from those who want to control the way you think, and that's exactly what this is. This attack is exactly a massive attempt to tinkle with the brains of people. I have explained this before. If you repeat something strong enough, people are going to start to think it more and more and to accept it as truth. Enough people say something, it generally becomes the narrative thinking for most people. That's partly how the Mandela effect works, because if you're convinced that something happened because you have talked to a lot of people who are also convinced that it happened in the same way, then finding out that it didn't happen in the same way is a little bit confusing. But this all comes from the misinformation that is handed down from person to person or from website to website, and that's what they are purposely doing, because this is purposeful misinformation, and this is an intentional attempt to just control what you might think, because a lot of people will read that, they'll say, oh, okay, a lot of websites are talking about it, so maybe it's true. And it is true. Factually, it is true. 81 score on Metacritic. However, you have to also be able to disseminate how important that information is. Black Myth Wukong is one of the best-selling games out there. It has made massive profits. It has a steady current player base that continues to play the game even several months after release. It is one of the highest rated games by people, and it's also amazing from all the reviews that you might read. And exactly who are you going to believe in to? Are you going to... Let's say, let me just ask you, are you going to believe, let's say, a divorce lawyer or a mechanic when they're talking about your car? You're more inclined to believe what the mechanics tells you. It's the same with other areas. You have people who are on the field and they do that every day, like gamers. They play games every day and they're ordinary people. And you have people who claim to be that, but they don't have anything to do with gaming at all. They have all to do with activism, however, and they don the mantle of gamers or gaming reviewers, and they just start meddling in stuff that they just don't understand. And most of them just repeat what the popular thing in their area of communication is. It's a big bubble that always does that. And because Black Myth Wukong was included in the Game of the Year, as a Game of the Year nominee, they're just furious because things in their eyes are falling apart at a very fast pace. They see that games that they would never approve of are on the list. They see that the games that they were probably paid to review highly and to just push forward as an agenda were not included, like Dragon Age Veilguard. And they see that all that they have stood for like sheep and just obediently pushed for all these years is falling apart faster than anyone could have predicted. I truly believe that they now know that this is probably the last few months that they're going to be of any relevance. There's going to be massive layoffs in the game journalism. That's my opinion, and I think it's gonna happen. They're gonna start to reach out to actual gaming channels on YouTube, on Twitch. They're going to start to consult with gamers, and they're going to start to try to hire gamers for their reviews, or they'll try to take interviews from more reputable gaming channels in order to get a grip on what the game actually is before they put a review. That's the only way they'll be able to save any sort of relevance for the future times. If they don't do that, they'll just close down, in my opinion. They'll just fall into the hole of irrelevance and nobody will read them. Site clicks will drop, and the only time someone will mention them is to make reviews such as I am doing now. And it's all happening so fast. Like, a lot of people didn't expect half of the stuff that has happened in the last couple of weeks to happen, and yet they happened, and even more spectacularly than predicted. And that's pretty much how an avalanche works. When you just start pushing little rocks down the hill, they soon start to tumble bigger rocks, and each time the force is quadrupled. And that's what's happening. We're at the massive boulder level, and soon everything that is below that propagates these absolute abhorrent practices in gaming and entertainment will be crushed by the avalanche of gamers and free opinions, the voice of the ordinary person and the YouTubers, and we'll have a clean slate to grow an absolute beautiful forest where everyone can just thrive and enjoy the fruits of good labor and honest reviews and not be burdened by corporate shenanigans anymore on that level. That's at least how I picture it, and I do think it's a rather good image to envision. As I have been saying for the last few videos, we're the gamers, we're the voice, we should have the reins, and we should have the say in the matter, because this is the fight and the fight is just. Thank you for watching this video and being here for as long as you did. If you enjoy it, click the like and subscribe button on my channel. If you want to support me directly, click the join button and join one of the tiers in the DiscussThing army and receive the awesome perks. And if you want to help homeless animals and animals in shelters, click the Patreon link down in the description below and be a member there. All proceeds go for homeless animals, animals in shelters, medical bills, food and housing, and new updates are coming soon. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Helso, this was DiscussThing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers and stay fresh.